So this is brand 2. It's 7:15 at night in the evening, June 23rd, 2024. So I paid thousands of dollars, not 1,000, but thousands plural, to each law firm. The Venezuelan law firm, the Iranian law firm. I want to say it again, I paid thousands of dollars to those law firms. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 15,000 just to get them to respond to me. Give or take, probably a little more. But it was all a game, lies, everything. There was no truth to it. It's called the hyper game. It's where lawyers play the game. They did the same thing with my asylum attorneys, and such as all over the world, such as, for example, Diego Corral in Quito, Ecuador. They corrupted him like they did every one of my asylum claims. They corrupted my ability to remain in Russia. Told the Russians I was this criminal they were trying to arrest. They never tried to arrest me. They used Interpol and law enforcement to keep the victim boxed in. The trauma-based mind control victim must be kept in a controlled environment. Not just me, it's all targeted individuals. They use manufactured evidence. And with mind control technologies, it's easy to do. The victim is tortured to near incoherency, and then the government contractors capitalize off the mistakes and poor decisions they force the victim to make each day trying to function and survive. The sleep deprivation torture, the directed energy torture, the violence, etc. The psychological and physical trauma. The victim is forced to play the game each day to function and survive. Even all of my social media posts are filtered, meaning they're controlling, the government supercomputers are controlling all distribution and visibility of content. That was going on overseas in countries like Nicaragua and other countries everywhere I went. So only certain people could see my posts. They filter them. They have 100 different ways of doing it. Shadow banning, etc. It's just controlling all distribution and visibility of that content, and that's still going on. But I called for 2 years, despite hundreds of emails and messages. Rarely ever was able to get any feedback from the attorneys, when I finally did. After 2 years of just repeated calls, hundreds of emails, messages, phone calls, 2 years, thousands of dollars paid to this law firm in China called Wolster and Company. Somebody picks up the phone and it's the accent of a black African American male, that kind of accent. After 2 years later, despite, repeated calls over and over. Same thing with the Iranian law firm. For 2 years, just calling. They want to talk. They want to message and talk. Yeah, but calling. And finally, I got through once, and then for a few seconds, got the answering service, and they didn't help me at all. They took a message, and then another time, again, answering service. They didn't help me. Took a message. That was over a 2-year period of repeated calls. So they're doing the same thing with my Chinese, Russian, and Venezuelan and Iranian lawyers that they have been doing all over the world with Ecuadorian lawyers and lawyers around the world. They are corrupting those lawyers with this mega 27-year Interpol investigation. They never had any intention of arresting me. They needed to keep me in a controlled environment. The trauma-based mind control victim cannot be allowed to engage in a pattern of random and chaotic conversational and situational scenarios. It disrupts their technology. They can't verify the responses of the victim are consistent. They're measuring brainwaves. So now both legs are swelling up. I'm just so beaten up. It's just brutal violence. Every level of my spine is damaged. My tailbone is fractured. I got herniated discs all up and down my back, my neck, from the violence. My ears, I have severe nerve damage and trauma to my ears from the continued directed energy torture. They've damaged my heart and cardiovascular system from years of torture, targeting my heart and other internal organs along this left side here. Just constant convulsions going on for years. It's all about training, research, and development in artificial superintelligence technologies. I'm forced to live in my car to try to just escape the violence and the harassment. And it's been brutal. They put me in the hospital I don't know how many times. And I go to the doctors. I tell the doctors what's happening. They act like I'm crazy. They don't pay me any attention. They falsely diagnosed me with a mental illness after they repeatedly threw me in the mental institution. Every time I told them I'm being attacked with directed energy, I'm being stalked. Of course, that's all over the news now. But not before. Everything's controlled. The story is breaking out now that it's too many victims. So now they're trying to control it. It doesn't work anymore. They just flood the internet with disinformation, misinformation, misdirection because there's too many victims. So all I wanted to do was just get medical treatment and get out of the country. And I'm so injured, I can't do it. I can't get out. I can't even get the medical treatment that I need. It's been years. Should have already been done. I should have already been gone. And what I don't understand is how they get the countries to go along with it. I mean, I guess they can do whatever they want in Europe and other places, but I'm talking about countries which hate them. The American government is hated in Nicaragua. It's hated in Cuba. It's hated in Russia. It's hated in China. It's hated in Cambodia. It's hated in Laos. It's hated in Serbia. Do I need to continue, et cetera, et cetera? And I went to all these countries I went to pleading for help, seeking help. My interpreter with a human rights organization I met in Nicaragua, Managua, Nicaragua, 2014, the interpreter they gave me, the hotel, I went to ask the Hotel Intercontinental for a translator. That interpreter was law enforcement, the government perpetrator. It wasn't just an informant. The representative, Humanis Recursos representative with that human rights organization was an informant for the Nicaraguan government. But this was an actual perpetrator, government perpetrator. And he was my interpreter. That's how they have manipulated my asylum claims and humanitarian protection requests all over the world. When I arrived in Nicaragua in 2014, first thing I did that very day was go straight to the police. They called in some special government people, the police did, and they all questioned me and told me, oh, you'll be safe here as long as you obey the laws. Next thing you know, they're attacking me with machetes. They're threatening me with violence, constant threats of violence. They're getting physical with me, deliberately walking into me, attacking me. I got, video of the attack, but, the government, the Nicaraguan government would be able to identify who that is. They know who that is. But the point is they don't even care. The American government doesn't care. It's just a game. It's a game. There's some kind of United Nations, World Health Organization, some kind of UN protocol or secret agreement where they're sharing victims for training, research, and development. Different countries are sharing victims. That's the only thing that I can come up with. I simply can't explain why they would cooperate with each other. The Russians, I begged for asylum. They put me on a plane and sent me back to Germany. I begged the Cubans for asylum. They, again, by police, the Russians escorted me by police to the airport and forcefully put me on the plane. Sent me back to Germany after I begged for asylum. Cuba repeatedly pleaded for asylum. They had the police escort me to the airplane, put me back on the plane. Same in Ecuador, same in other countries around the world. I mean, they're actually corrupting the lawyers that represent me. I paid Diego Corral between $5,000 and $10,000. In Ecuador, that's a lot of money, to represent me on my asylum claim. And he was corrupted from the get-go. In Quito, Ecuador, my asylum attorney, immigration attorney. Unreal. Unbelievable.